at this time, I'm going to ask you to make arrangements to come turn yourself into the Grand Traverse County Jail. I am going to ask that you turn yourself in by 7 p.m. tonight.
I can't. I'm sorry. I don't even have a license. I can't. I have a job. I got bills.
Followed through. So, Mr. Graff, would you...
This case is a perfect example of what can happen when someone decides to ignore the terms of their probation. The defendant was originally given a second chance, but instead of following through, he skipped out on checking in with his probation officer. Now he's back in court, and it's not looking good. The judge has had enough, and today's hearing takes a sharp turn. If you caught the intro, you already know this doesn't end well. The judge delivers a verdict that completely blindsides the defendant. What follows is one of the most bizarre and uncomfortable courtroom reactions we've seen in quite some time. At first, the guy keeps his cool, almost too calm, as if he still believes he can talk his way out of the situation with charm or excuses. But then, out of nowhere, things shift. He suddenly snaps, and the mood in the room goes from quiet tension to total chaos. It's like he realized in real time that the consequences were real and unavoidable. His demeanor quickly unravels, and what was once calm turns into a full-on meltdown in front of the entire courtroom. You really have to wonder what was going through his mind. Was he in denial the whole time? Or did he truly think the court would just let it slide? By the end of the hearing, it's hard to say if he fully understood the gravity of what just happened. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was this just a breakdown under pressure, or is there something deeper going on here? Either way, it's a reminder that ignoring probation terms is a direct path back to trouble. Let's roll the clip and see how it all unfolded, step by step.
I see that you're on my docket, but I don't have any paperwork for you, and it's my understanding that you have a Grand Traverse case.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is ask the probation department to kindly set this for a probation violation arraignment. I guess.
With my understanding, I had thought my attorney, Jake Graff, I don't know if he's in right now, but he had said that sometimes you do cases for Grand Traverse.
He is here. Let me pull him in. I think that this was potentially an error, but I don't know. I didn't receive notice of.
And I know he struggled to receive notice from the courts about anything in my case, so they weren't being very cooperative for the longest time, even to him.
Good morning, Mr. Graff. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes.
So I was just telling Mr. Bunt that I wasn't expecting to see a Grand Traverse case. We could move forward with the let's see here. Would you like to proceed, Mr. Graff, with the probation violation arraignment this morning?
That would be fine if the court would allow it. I think it sounds like there was some confusion. Mr. Bunt received a notice for 11 o'clock today. And so we're ready to be arraigned and set this for a hearing at a later date if the court would be obliged.
Okay. Yes. Let's see. And Mr. Graff, so let me go ahead and call the case. It's case 21-5281 FY1. And we have Jacob Bunt present via Zoom with his attorney, Mr. Graff. We're here for a probation violation arraignment. And Mr. Graff, how would your client like to proceed with this?
Good morning, Your Honor. He'd enter a not guilty plea, ask the court to set this for a hearing at a later date, and then we'd also like to, I guess, address bond.
Okay, very good. All right. So I will ask the probation department to schedule the hearing with Judge Cooney. It looks like there is an active bench warrant currently. And Mr. Graff, what would you like to say about bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, obviously, late, I guess, after hours yesterday, we finally received the probation violation information on this case. And so we've had very little time to obviously prepare. not knowing specifically what all the allegations were. If the court would look at the notice, it talks about a positive PBT on April 22nd, which I don't think is applicable to Mr. Bunt. And so obviously going into today, until we received that information last night, we were going in somewhat blind. We do have that information. We do have information we'd like to present on his behalf. I guess the one thing is he retained my services. I reached out to try to take care of the warrant. Somehow this got set for hearing as opposed to having him turn himself in. So he has taken a proactive approach and trying to get things under control and get things resolved here. I know that the recommendations asked for him to be remanded pending the hearing. But given that the fact that one, he's taken the initiative to get this ball rolling. Two, as far as I know, there are no new criminal charges. Three, he's appearing today knowing what these recommendations are and that the court could place him in jail pending a hearing. But also more importantly, there's a lot of information that we have to present at the time of his hearing regarding what he's accomplished over the last couple of years. I think there may be more information Mr. Bunt would want to get to me now that we know specifically what the allegations are so that we can present a full defense when that time comes. As far as I know, as the court will see from the notice, he resides in Lapeer. He's got a job at, he just enrolled in college. And there are a number of other things that obviously we'd be presenting on his behalf about the services that he has participated and completed. Lastly, I was informed this morning that Mr. Bunt has paid off all his fines and costs. And so this has not been, I guess, a complete failure as may be alleged on the information that's been presented to the court. I understand today is not the day for the hearing, but I certainly want the court to have a little bit better idea of how Mr. Bunt presents as in regards to obviously the information they may have had coming into this. And so for those reasons, Your Honor, I would ask the court to consider allowing him to remain out on bond. Obviously, he'll know that he'll have to travel to Traverse City for that hearing and appear in person for it. And it could result in more troubles for him if he doesn't. But I think the fact that he's taken the initiative to get this moving is a step in the right direction and speaks to obviously how much he wants to resolve this and will do so.
That was actually a surprisingly solid defense from his attorney. Whether he's a public defender or a private hire, I've got to give him credit. He came fully prepared, facts in hand, and made a strong case. Meanwhile, the defendant is sitting there on Zoom looking completely lost. Like he accidentally clicked the wrong link and isn't sure whether to speak or log off quietly. That it's hard to wrap your head around the disconnect here. This individual is on probation, allegedly failed a preliminary breath test, and yet is acting like he's the one caught off guard. That blank stare in the corner of the screen doesn't say wrongfully accused. It screams, please don't pull up my history. It's one of those courtroom moments that's both awkward and telling at the same time. And just to clarify, failing a PBT or preliminary breath test while you're on probation is no small thing. It's not just a warning or a gentle reminder. It can land you right back in a violation hearing, which opens the door to far more serious consequences, including potential jail time. The stakes are real, and they escalate fast. So after hearing the defense's argument, it all comes down to the judge. Will that quiet, almost panicked silence from the defendant work in his favor? Or is it too little, too late? Let's watch closely as the next moments unfold, because they could determine whether this hearing ends in mercy or a booking.
Thank you, Mr. Graff. All right, so let me just verify your mailing address, Mr. Bunt.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And we will have the probation department schedule this for an in-person hearing that will take place at the courthouse in Grand Traverse County. This is an unusual case. This is a pretty serious, the underlying charges with this, and I'm not unsympathetic for what Mr. Graff is saying. It sounds like you've been actively working on sobriety and improving yourself, but I don't have any verification of any of that having taken place. I don't think it would have been outside the realm of your recovery to contact probation. You did.
I know.
Hold on just a minute. Mr. Bunt, it's not your turn to talk. Hold on, please. You've been just kind of hanging out there. No one has had any idea of what you're doing, what you have been doing, the things you've accomplished. And I guess I'm not understanding why you didn't simply reach out. We have tools and resources here. You had every opportunity for, it looks like, a couple of years to just try to reach out and catch up before it came to this crossroads here. So with that being said, let's see. At some point, did you say you were going to turn yourself in?
Yes, I was going to be turning myself in after my graduation. One of the things on probation was to get my GED, and I did accomplish that. Jake Graff has a photocopy of my diploma. I will be walking and getting a cap and gown. I am already enrolled in the MOT. I went through some mental health issues and am still actively getting help from CMH. I have a signed waiver of release information for the courts. I've been working. I know there is no proof of me showing my recovery, and I know it probably doesn't look good on you guys, but I did improve myself, and I take full responsibility for my wrongdoings in the past. And I don't want to just have my freedom like you get when you get out of jail. I don't just want freedoms. I want to be successful. I want to do the things everyone tells you should do and you can do. And, I want to I'm going into college to get associates in business. I want to be an entrepreneur and follow in my father's footsteps.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bunt. And I do appreciate that.
Now, normally on this channel, we highlight the chaos, the folks who treat the courtroom like it's amateur comedy night. But every now and then, a moment stands out for a different reason. This time, the defendant actually gave a speech that was honest, grounded, and surprisingly self-aware. No blaming the stars, no childhood excuses, just someone taking real accountability for past choices. That said, we've seen this pattern before, haven't we? As soon as the threat of jail time becomes real, there's a sudden wave of spiritual awakenings and long-term life plans. Everyone has found peace, discovered their purpose, and written a 5-year strategy to get their life back on track. When the stakes are this high, it gets harder to tell who's being sincere and who's just putting on a show. Judges are absolutely allowed to weigh signs of rehabilitation when considering sentencing. But there's no checklist, no guaranteed formula. It all comes down to the judge's instinct. And let's be real, they've seen it all. From teary apologies and emotional letters to dramatic speeches quoting self-help books or talk show hosts, courtroom performances are nothing new. So now it's your turn. Do you think this guy truly turned a corner, or was this just another well-rehearsed act to avoid a harsher sentence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Either way, it's a reminder that when it comes to redemption in court, words are easy, but actions speak louder.
And I don't want you to look at this as a setback in your recovery. I want you to look at this as moving forward and getting closure with this, okay? And that's just going to help you and build a strong foundation for continuing to move forward down there in Lapeer. So at this time, I'm going to ask you to make arrangements to come turn yourself into the Grand Traverse County Jail. The probation department will set this for a hearing. I would ask them to set it for the fastest, soonest possible date so that we can get this thing expedited.
Officer wants me to sit a year. I'm not going to go to college. I get out of jail when I'm 26. It takes me 4 years to get a degree. By the time I have money, I'm going to be old as
Mr.
fuck.
Bunt, please stop. I want you to continue moving forward. I can't look at the facts of the past and just allow this to continue on this way. So I am going to ask that you turn yourself in by 7 p.m. tonight.
I don't even have a license. I can't get up there that fast. I have a job. I got bills. I got to drop out of college. No, I won't be able to get my walk. I will everything I worked hard
Mr.
for. I
Bunt,
won't be able to do.
I'm going to have to mute you. I've muted you. I want you to know that this is a first step in getting closure for this case. And you You had every opportunity to make a step forward, and I appreciate that you did contact the court, but you haven't followed through. So, Mr. Graff, would you want a brief breakout room with your client?
Sure, that'd be fine. I don't want to hold up the court's time. I can call him after court as well.
Okay. I'm not sure if it would be easier for you to try to talk to him right now, or if you'd just rather end this for now and give him a call.
I'll give him a call here, and I don't want to use up the court's time. Mr. Bunt, just so you know, you didn't get a year in jail today. You're being remanded pending your hearing, which will come up pretty soon. I understand you're disappointed, but you're not getting the year as they recommended as of right now, okay? But I'll give you a call.
Thank you, Mr. Graff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, what a way to make an exit. Just when you think the hearing is winding down, this defendant manages to spiral into one final meltdown. And keep in mind, this isn't even the final chapter. He still has another hearing coming up. So if this was just the warm-up, the actual sentencing could turn into a full-blown disaster. Now, let's talk about his attorney for a second. You could almost read the thought bubbles on his face. Somewhere between, is this really happening? And can I resign mid-hearing? That poor guy looked like he was already drafting his exit email or searching for how to withdraw from court-appointed cases without burning bridges. Look, no one's saying emotions aren't valid in court. It's a stressful place. But yelling like you're leaving a one-star Yelp review? That's not the kind of performance that earns sympathy points. If anything, it's a fast track to less leniency and possibly more consequences down the line. But here's where I want your input. Was the judge fair? Personally, I think she handled it with grace. She gave him space to speak, showed patience, and didn't immediately escalate when things got loud. Still, I know some of you might think she should have been stricter from the start, especially once the yelling began. Some judges see courtroom outbursts as a serious offense, while others chalk it up to stress and frustration. And before we wrap this up, a big shout out to Old Squishy Gardener for finding this wild clip. His channel's linked in the description, so make sure to check him out. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoy real courtroom reactions and deep dives into legal chaos, be sure to like and subscribe. Stay sharp, stay informed, and take care, everyone.